How would you buff the rest of the Mondstadt cast with Exorite passive? I mean, the thing about the witch buffs is, you look at the witch characters, you have characters like Venti and Mona that had their whole, like, intended role change as a result of the witch buffs. And then you have characters like Razor or Albedo play the exact same way but just got stronger. So like it depends on which one of those you want to do. But we can think about that, sure. There's a lot of characters from Mondstadt now, huh? And we can talk about what I think would be cool. Noelle. Should Noelle get anything? Noelle needs energy? No, she doesn't. Unless they fix her bug, she doesn't need energy. If they fix the bug, she would need energy. But the fact that you can just burst every other rotation because of the bug makes it so that she doesn't actually need energy. What bug? If you're off field when her burst expires, you get the duration extension from the C6. You get all 10 seconds of it, just for fun. As if you had defeated 10 enemies. Even if you haven't defeated a single one. And that plus hit lag extension, because she has a relatively long hit lag as a Geo character that's a Claymore. There's a reason why. Noelle is one of the short characters that can Dragon Strike from a normal attack. You end up with a duration that's like 30 seconds, basically. So if you use your burst at the start of your first uptime, stay on field for like 10 seconds, go off field, do your setup for like 8 seconds, swap back, you have another 12 seconds of uptime. So you can do 2 uptimes with 1 burst. Give her an EM buff for fun. I don't think they should do that. I think that's stuff like Lunar Crystallized Noelle is really cool. What makes it cool is the fact that it's not directly with the main kit. What makes it cool is the fact that it's only a byproduct of Noelle having weird ICD. If they made her actually have EM scaling, I think it would be less interesting and less fun. Imagine Noelle becomes a knight in the story and finally gains the ability to generate particles, though. That is kind of an insane lore cook, though. That's true. That's true. Is that why she doesn't generate particles? I had never thought about it that way, man. Wait, that's a good tweet. What the hell? I had never, like, clocked that. Thank you, Menarch. I'm stealing your joke and I'm making it a tweet. What the fuck is the preg? Oh, I'm good, thanks. Do you think if Lohan is a Hexagon unit, him and Mona could knock Farina out of her only good team? Supposedly Lohan is a carry, so he wouldn't really be doing anything. And I don't think Mona with witch buffs is worth 2 team slots, so probably not. Mona in non-reaction teams is a lot worse, right? Non-reaction, non-Hexarai carry, she loses so much of the value. I think for Noelle, I'd like to see attack speed buffs. If Noelle got a like faction buff, or just a buff in general, I like to see attack speed stuff. Attack speed on charge attack, actually, specifically. Like, spin faster. What DPS is Noelle currently? 80k? I'm not sure exactly. I mean, Lunar Noelle is probably above that, because it's not actually Noelle, right? It's just Columbina. Columbina off-field carry. So you're probably a little bit above that. You're probably hovering around 90 to 100k. In a non-wheelchair team. The thing is, Noelle's best non-wheelchair team is just wheelchair with extra steps. High-tech wheelchair with like a VR headset and controls to like pilot a robot that's pushing the wheelchair, basically. Noelle's best quote-unquote non-wheelchair team is just Xianyun. And half the damage is just Xianyun. But like that's not Xianyun. Like it's still geo damage. It's fucking like diarrhea brown colored damage still, but like it's Xianyun's damage, you know? Like is like saying Nefer's damage is just Llama? No, because Nefer's like, the portion of Nefer's damage that's just Llama is so much lower. It's a lot closer to Columbina carry in terms of the portion of the damage that's coming from the support. And yeah, when people talk about Columbina carry, they say it's Llama carry. The thing about Noelle is, like, her motion value on her normal attack string, so fucking bad for how slow they are. A normal attack is almost as slow as a plunge attack, and it's less than half the damage. So if you use Xianyun, not only are you getting way more damage from Noelle herself, but you're also getting a lot of damage from Xianyun. So when you're doing like actual carry Noelle stuff, Xianyun carries her ass so much. Technically, if you can do reliable Dragon Strike, it's probably better to do that over doing Xianyun. What is the best Noelle Xianyun team? I'm not actually sure. I never actually got around to testing that much Noelle Xianyun stuff. This is when Red Horn is so good. Yeah, I mean, that's part of why Red Horn is good on her, because her damage is just so dog shit. You have both on your account? I do. I could actually test it, I suppose. I would expect Albedo Xianyun Durin to be her best bet. Does Bennett C6 override Noelle in Fusion? No, but Bennett is not very good for Noelle. Because Noelle's burst, right? At talent level 13, which like, if you are playing carry Noelle, you are probably getting, is 85% of her defense plus 50% from the C6. So 135% of her defense converted to attack. Her base defense is 800. She has defense ascension. She's getting at the very least a defense main stat, as well as some defense substats, and very possibly Tusk as your artifact set. So you're at like 150+% defense. Bare minimum, she's at 2,000 defense. Most situations, she's higher than that. 135% of that, 2,700. So she gains 2,700 flat attack from her burst. In a relatively pessimistic scenario, she can gain more than that. That's like, if you're looking at Aquila Bennett, that's 2.5 Bennett buffs. Getting one more Bennett buff on top of that just isn't that meaningful. Should you build... No, ever since I've learned about the bug on Noelle, I am now a Favonius Greatsword denier on Noelle. I heckin' love Noelle. And then you swap out, you do your setup on your other characters, you use your abilities, wow, pew pew. And the burst is still here, man. Look at how fucking long this shit lasts. It lasted for 30 fucking seconds. How do you do that? Just be off field when your burst expires. How did Noelle mains gatekeep that for... Dude, I don't know. I don't know why this is something that isn't more widely known. Like, I'm sure it's very well known within Noelle mains communities, but like, it had never made its way to me until like very recently. How much does she need then? It depends on the team, because she doesn't generate energy herself. Your ER requirements are a lot more varied depending on how much energy you generate on the rest of your team. Characters like Albedo that generate geo energy that you can catch on Noelle will help your ER requirements quite a bit. Characters like Shilonen that not only generate geo energy for her, but that you can also battery into her, are amazing. But like with Shilonen, you don't even need, like, you can still burst every rotation, honestly. For Noelle stuff, I think it's a real shame that her attack strings are so dogshit that the best ways to use her are as a lunar crystallized driver and as a Xianyun driver. So I would like to see buffs, maybe that don't necessarily make those, or that don't necessarily like completely ignore those things, but that focus more on her intended playstyle. So like more attack speed, more crit, more hits, like follow-up hits, stuff like that I think would be nice. Maybe a ramping damage buff when you hold charge attack. That would be cool. Or maybe give her a benefit from the healing. Right, give her a passive that's kind of like the clam set. The biggest problem with that is Noelle healing is reliant on the shield not breaking. So if the shield breaks, it's gonna feel so bad. Wait, I'm gonna be honest. I did not know the percent chance to heal scaled with talent level on her skill. What the hell? That shield never breaks. That is a Noelle main propaganda statement, by the way. It doesn't break with a fucking crown skill on Red Horn. Serpent Spine, talent level 9 or 10 is fucking paper. It's paper, man. Just dodge. If you hold charge attack, you can't dodge. Noelle's shield is the strongest in the game. Is that true? In terms of like effective HP, if you stay on her, I can believe that, because it scales with defense, which means you double dip on your shielding. But I'm pretty sure Lanyan's shield, just in terms of size, is bigger. Lanyan just fucking solos everyone else when it comes to shielding. Other Mondstadt units that are not witches. Amber. I mean, honestly, just give up on this. There's no fixing this abomination of a kit. Make Baron Bunny stick to an enemy. You know, that's a great idea. Then you could actually get reliable energy from Amber. The buffs Amber would need to actually be worth considering in terms of team building would be too big, and she's already good enough at doing her job when you're using her for shield break and stuff like that. The only thing I would really want to see is making it so that Baron Bunny generates energy more reliably. Make Baron Bunny explode from one hit. Don't have it inherit HP. Have it inherit 1 HP. The thing that feels the worst when you play Amber is you put Baron Bunny down because you need the energy. The enemy attacks Baron Bunny. Baron Bunny gets knocked back by the attack and then explodes out of range of the enemy. It feels so fucking awful. And I wish that was not a thing. Stop spreading misinformation. The enemy never attacks Baron Bunny. Diluc. Okay, unironically, the biggest problem with Diluc, his burst is like the worst ability in the game. At least it's 40 cost. The fact that it's 40 cost is just bait. It being 40 cost makes you have it available more often, which means that you get the DPS loss from using his burst more often. Like, his burst is the worst ability in the game, I think. No, worse than Yuemiya burst? Oh, it is definitely worse than Yuemiya burst. Maybe Dahlia burst is better, or is worse, I guess. That's just Dahlia as a whole being bad. If you do play Dahlia, you want to use the burst. Lisa's skill begs to differ. I mean, there's a situation on Lisa where you do want to use the skill just because it generates a lot of energy. I actually can't think of an ability that's worse. Seguini burst. Maybe Seguini burst is worse, actually. Seguini applies Hydro, so not really. No. Seguini's burst has special ICD and applies hydro twice over the burst duration. It's bad. It's bad. Oh, it's awful. Trust me, that shit sucks. Only twice? I think it's twice. Maybe it's 3 times. I remember learning about it and being like, what the fuck? And I remember like a couple ITs ago, there was a pyro shield that I saw up to Seguini. I used her burst and the shield just like didn't get reduced. I was like, oh right, I forgot about that. What I would like to see on diluc, if they wanted to like actually change him, I think it's fine for the burst to not be that good in terms of damage and have the burst be focused on empowering him. Because like it already is doing that, right? It gives him a pyro infusion and the pyro infusion gives him damage percent as well. I think it's fine to lean into that more instead of trying to make the burst do more by itself. Maybe like have the burst reduce your skill cooldown and have the skill allow you to do a jump every time you use it. Like a jump that's high enough for a plunge attack. You can just spam E jump plunge, E jump plunge, E jump plunge. Wouldn't that just be gumming? No, because gumming's E itself doesn't apply pyro or deal damage, and the plunge does more damage. With diluc, you would be forced to have more pyro application, so you can't really play melt, but you would have more motion value because of those skills. So in vape, you would do more. I think that could be cool. Wouldn't Shannon melt still be better? Probably, but that's fine. Kaya. I mean, Kaya doesn't need anything. He's already perfect. Yeah, I guess it'd be cool to have an extended burst duration, but I feel like he doesn't need it. Outside of Gumming, there's like no melt character that would actually need the longer burst duration. I would much rather see him get a support ability that enables melt to deal more damage instead of more burst duration here, or even just faster cryo app during the burst. I don't think he needs more duration. I think it's fine to have him be the low duration option. Radius would be nice. Yeah, like radius, like application rate. Have a second set of icicles, maybe, in like a larger radius. And if both hit, then you get double the damage and the app. But you would need to be at a specific position for both to hit. I think that sounds cool. I like that. It would also make carry Kaya better, which is nice. A nice little upside. Because how many hits does Kaya get in his burst again? It's like at C6, it's like, yeah, that looked like 16. I think it's 12 before C6 and 16 at C6. All right, but like if you get 16 of them, that's 2,500-ish motion value. And if you double that, that's 5,000. Similar to Ayaka in terms of motion value, but on a shorter cooldown. So you could make Kaya carry work. Yeah. Just give him double hits. Just give him a second set of icicles. Barbara. Shining Idol. Generate energy. She is from the Church of Favonius. She's not a Knight of Favonius. I don't think she deserves energy. Just fakes her cooldown on skill and burst. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Have this passive say is extended by 1 second and its cooldown is reduced by 1 second. Just that. Lisa. I mean, I've had a few ideas about how to buff Lisa over the years because I think her kit is pretty cool, but like triple her hold E multipliers. What she needs is, first of all, the hold skill should not have a cooldown. Have it say if you get a 3-stack hold skill, it reduces the cooldown to 0. Right, that's a very first fucking thing you need to do if you want this to function at all, right? Because like her skill is an interesting mechanic. It's like, okay, you spam the skill to build up conductive stacks, and then you use those conductive stacks to have your hold skill do more damage. That effectively means you want to give her field time. What the fuck are you gonna do once you've done that? She just becomes completely worthless. What the fuck is the point of the conductive stacks if you can only do it once per rotation? That's so dumb. Why does it work like that? And just double the damage it does. You do those two things and Lisa's cool. Jean. Okay, first of all, Jean burst duration is so fucking short. It expires so early. It's so dumb. I hate it. So it starts at 58 and it lasts until, yeah, this is 9 seconds. Like 10 seconds, the duration starts before the animation is over. So like in terms of effective uptime after you swap out, it's like 8 seconds. It's so bad. So like that's the very first thing I'd change, and I think the most important thing to change. Because I feel like there is no animal character other than like Hazo, I guess. But even then, it also doesn't work with Hazo. There is no animal character that fits in like 21-second rotations and that has an uptime that's 8 seconds or shorter. So if you want to take advantage of her C4, you just can't. We also sneak in burst damage or burst cooldown reduction. Yeah. Have this say will regenerate 20% of its energy and cooldown. Jean burst cooldown starts at the end of the animation or like in the middle of the animation, not at the start. So when you have Jade on your team, even with Animal Resonance, you're still stuck at like 20 plus second rotations. Yeah, making her field bigger would also be nice. Okay, you want to know what I actually would like to see? Make the field entering slash exiting damage as much as the initial hit. And have it so that the way you play Jean is by juggling enemies in and out of her field to try to get as many hits of this as possible. That would be cool. How will you juggle bosses though? You won't. I don't know if there's anything else I'd want to do for Jane. I don't think so. I think that's that. Diona? Yeah, I mean, I kind of like shield duration because very often Diona is the first character you want to swap into in your rotation. So by the time you swap to your carry, you have like 3 seconds of uptime left on your shield. Shield strength. I think she needs shield duration more than shield strength. Okay, you know what she actually fucking needs? She needs to not have standard ICD on her charge attack. What is the... Why is this gonna exist if you can't even react every charge attack when you use this? Alright, that's what Diona fucking needs. Alright, that's what she needs. Albedo already has witch buffs. Rosaria, give back her boobs. Good one. Are you gonna be upset with me if I say that I would like Rosaria to buff physical more? They should give her the Venti treatment and give her an actual viable physical playstyle. That's what they should do. Is this salvageable? I talked about what I would like to see for Eula buffs a while ago. Lightfall Sword should pulse for current damage or like a portion of current damage every time you get a certain amount of stacks. So like every time you get 2 stacks, it does half of the current burst explosion damage. So like after 2 attacks, you get like 500 motion value. After another 2 attacks, you get like 600 motion value. After another 2 attacks, you get like 700 motion value, and so on and so forth until the burst falls down. And the reason why I want something like that is because I think it would be really nice if attack speed mattered more for her. Trying to get her to breakpoints where you get 1 or 2 extra attacks. If that gets you a full-ass additional bursts worth of damage, that's kind of good, actually. Right? It's not just the extra normal attacks. It's also extra burst damage. Nothing for her ER requirements. I think it's fine for her to have high ER requirements. Like, just because a character has a high burst cost doesn't necessarily mean they should generate an insane amount of energy. Like, one of the things I kind of miss about old Genshin balance is the need for characters to actually have battery. Yeah, like Chi-Chi, true. Yeah, they should definitely make it so that the burst consumes energy on cast, not at the end of the animation, to allow you to pre-funnel and to allow you to do actual 20-second rotations instead of being stuck to 22+ second rotations. She wasn't bad enough. She also needed to have her burst cooldown actually be 22 seconds, not 20 seconds. Thank God. Thank God they nerfed her that way preemptively. I talked about this a while ago. Lightfall Sword is 6... I'm not saying it. What are the combos that people use on her to get the maximum amount of stacks? Let me check GC Sim, see what they use. N4E, N4 hold, N4 D, and 2. This does not add a stack. So like currently, and then you also have the E itself, which is 418. We have 163, and we have this divided by 2. So like currently, N1, N2, and 3, and 4. So we get this, then this, and then another one of these. And then the stacks is 1, right? It goes up to 14. And then you have 674.3 plus this times the amount of stacks. So total motion value over combo is around 5,000. What I would like to see, for now, let's say 2, right? Every 2 stacks that she gains, the burst pulses for either current damage or a fraction of current damage. For now, let's just say 50%. After your second attack, you will get a burst pulse for around 500. Then after the N3, you get a pulse for 600. After the Holdy for 750. Almost 900 from the vortex thingies, whatever they're called. A bit over 1,000 from the N1, then the N3, and then that. And you would get an extra. Basically, it would double her damage. That might be too busted. No, that would not be too busted. She would still not be that good. Like, she'd be fine with this, but she wouldn't be broken. But you could balance it and make it like 30% instead of 50% or something like that, right? It doesn't really matter. But this is the sort of mechanic I would like to see. And maybe like have a passive that delays the burst as well, so that you can stack even more than this and keep going even further. Don't laugh. What is that? Why even? I don't get it. Better than I expected. I mean, yeah, you have Inefa doing half the team stabbing. That's what I would like to see. I think that would be cool. And then maybe you give Diona an attack speed buff to incentivize playing Diona as a battery for her. That would be cool too. Or Rosaria an attack speed buff. Something like that. I guess Mika gives attack speed already after War. After War, he does that. Make Mika's buff linger for 1 second for Eula burst after swapping off of her. That would be nice, yeah. I agree with that. And then Dahlia, he doesn't need one, honestly. Straight up just giving him the Hexorite tag would be really nice, because then you would be able to play Dahlia Mona in a Skirk team. That'd be kind of goated, actually. Bench that Farina fraud.